Good evening all, welcome to another AMF Dev Series race. This is Brands Hatch tonight. We have a 26 car field and we're just getting the grid up and ready to go racing. We're gridding in 45 seconds, so we'll just show the starting grid and hopefully it's going to be a good race. Not like last week's Bella Isle Endurance, but hopefully all goes well. And once again joining me in the commentary box is Bruce Ross. How you going, Bruce? Yeah, not too bad. Pretty keen on this track. Really good track. A lot of commitment from some of the drivers, and it's a really smooth running track. A short one. It's only 3.7 k's long, but yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight's race. It's a bit of a sprint compared to what last week was, but yeah, I hope these boys do well. Yeah, that's it. With the usual people up the front, as we see, we've got Andrew Welter, Stephen Lattimore, Matt Morris, and the guys up the front there, and they've been doing good in practice and qualifying that we saw. But thought we'd just jump to the broadcast just for the race, pretty much. Just cut out the small stuff and let's get down to the nitty gritty. But yeah, really keen on seeing this race, to seeing how these boys are going to come back after the, as we said last week's Bella Isle. Concrete barriers everywhere and the track was a bit slippery, and not only that, the short track as well with that many cars, it was just bound for disaster. But yeah, no, really keen on this one. I think we're going to see a lot of competitors, take that single line and take it easy, and they're going to start off. I don't think we're going to get as many yellows or safety cars. I think they're going to be parked away today. But yeah, you're really keen to see this race and see these guys actually compete and really push each other as their skills that they have, Yeah, and it's good to see that a lot of the names were a bit muddled up the other week back, last week's race, and now you can actually see where the pole sitters are sitting. Usually, like, look at the Andrew Welter, Steve Lattimore, Matt Morris. Matt Morris was up there last week, but Andrew Welter was a bit back in the field. Stephen Lattimore back as well. He was like 6th or 7th. So it's good to see them boys back up the front again. This is a track that they're really keen on getting in, and these boys have really put the practice in. So let's see how it goes, eh? As they come around to the last corner and coming over the finish line. And we're underway. Look, you can already see 3 wide there. A couple of rows there. We've got 3 wide. Let's see if they can get around this first corner right. Oh, and Steve Lattimore goes a bit wide there. Andrew Welter's nice and got it settled in. Oh, definitely. We've got a little bit of free wide action, but the boys are giving a little bit of room and not being too pushy tonight, so that's really good. Yeah, that's it. I think these boys are a little bit hesitant. They don't want to get these penalty points against them, so they're racing clean, and they're going to take this as an official race, I guess, and not touch anyone and not push the boundaries of the friendship with race control. Oh, Chad Hearn gets turned around. Oh, unlucky for him. Yeah, so does Dan Hanover. Oh, his car's crabbing. Not too lucky for him. That is a full commitment corner, though. You have to give it all. Oh, there's nothing like a little bit of technical issues that we always have, but it just makes it the fun of it. But even there, look, going back to the live race, there's still cars going 2x2, going around the corners nice and well, and that was the only incident we've had on the first lap, so that's not too bad. I'd say that's pretty well done. But one thing I would note, Steve Lattimore dropped back into P9 in one lap. That's a -7 positions in one lap. Liam Eagle dropped that back turn 2. These are not the guys that you'd usually see drop positions, so hopefully they can gather it together and yeah, sort out whatever the issue was there. I think this is one of these races that's going to broadcast itself there, Bruce. They're going to go single file the whole way around for start to finish, I think. Yeah, well, that's it. A lot of conversation happened through the week within AMF Discord. We saw some new rules get brought into the race, or the series or league, as you want to say. And not only that, but even next season we have a new class as well. So that's going to be very interesting. Yeah, well, that's it. Other series that have run on iRacing that we've seen have really strict rules. And I think with AMF, the Dev series, was that they understood and they had that patience about it. It was a development series. But even with some of the certain drivers, we're trying to push the luck a little bit with certain moves and certain stuff, that we knew that they had potential to do better. So, you know, these guys bring it into the elite class. You know, always going to be top split. And then not only that, the 10-point driving license. I think that's going to benefit a lot for everyone that's on track. Everyone's going to be mindful, like it's slightly an official race. You want to make that whole league, you want to make that whole entire series. And if you know, everyone makes mistakes, that's fine. But, you know, making them ballsy moves of shooting down the inside of someone or sending it, you know, it's in wrecking someone's race, then that's going to penalise you. You know, it's not just a whoops accident thing. So no, I reckon it's really good for the race control and the you know, the guys that run this series, you know, Ryan and that they brought that in and made that a part of it. These guys really got to focus on the future now. Yeah, Steve Lattimore, he's not having a good night. He just got spun back around, but he's doing the best. He pulled off the back of the track, and he's had a thought about which way his steering wheel was and backed off the back of the track. So good on him for that. I'll just side note on that one. I think the rookies might want to have a look at what Steve Lattimore just did then. You know, when you're in reverse, turn your wheel the other way, and the car comes backwards off the track, not back on. Not having to dig at anyone, just pointing a note. Yeah, well, definitely. We all know Steve Lattimore. You know, he is, and also another big name in sim racing. You know, he does help out a lot. He does a lot of stuff with paints and stuff. And not only that, he is actually the team owner of Race on Oz. But look, just his lap times alone puts him roughly in about 6 or 7 positions. So you know that he's too far back from what he should be. So I hope he gets the good run that he can. He's had 2 mishaps tonight, so I hope he gets back up there. Yeah, that's it. Now we have Stealth Sim Sport Rob J. Harris. He just had a little bit of an off back there, you know, half a lap ago while we're talking about Steve Lattimore, but another consistent driver, you know, head down, bum up, and consistent driver. So I'm surprised he's where he is at the moment, but you know, 17th position, he is up 1. Let's see what he does, and yeah, he another driver that's developed through the series and developed through his career in the short time of it. But let's have a watch and see if he can pull a little bit more positions. That's definitely right. And you look who we've got here. We've got Aaron Imbers, we've got Liam Eagle, we've got Chris Whittaker, and we've got Aaron Hindle. You know, these guys, we know these guys can race cleaners. They're always going to wait for that put that pressure on. You know, look at Chris Whittaker. We know he took it out with the MX-5s at Bathurst by being consistent. You know, Liam Eagle has been up, you know, top 10 pretty much every race we've had from, again, being consistent. These guys are going to battle until one makes that slight mistake, just a little bit of pressure. So this is definitely going to be one of these things that you're going to watch. They're going to do lap after lap, corner after corner, just focusing on apexes and exits, and until that one mistake happens. This is probably going to be a real good example of racing at its best. And just to touch base on Stephen Lattimore in P14, He's done a 1 second lap faster than whoever's in front of him. So just explain that correctly. He's 1 second faster than the position in front of him. So hopefully by the end of this 45-minute race that he will be back somewhere respectively in, you know, P6, P7. I don't want to put no commentary curse on it, but I reckon that's where I reckon he's going to end. Yeah, well, you can definitely tell just on the other thing that Liam Eagle's feeling the pressure from Chris Whittaker. You know, that BMW can go around corners really well, but you can see that AMG just going a little bit wide on a few corners and touching the grass. So obviously you can see that the pressure's on Liam, that Chris is there, and as we were explaining before, you know, we're just waiting for that one mistake. These boys are not going to do ballsy moves and chuck it down the inside and be silly like that. They'll wait for that one certain 100% I will pass him because he made a massive mistake. And you can see that obviously the pressure is getting on Liam there, that Chris is right behind him. Yeah, well, that's the thing around here. Now, if you've raced around this track and you know Brands Hatch, that you know that that's 100% commitment track. There's a few corners in here, even the blind turn one. I'd say it's blind, I will. Like, you really got to have 100% commitment. You have no joke. To be funny about it, you have to have balls the size of an elephant to hold it flat and give it around here in 3 corners of this track. So that's one of them there. So the Mercs might just get that, as you said, a little bit of push. Or they might just go a little bit wide, and you have to hold it on there. Yeah, Scott Chambers there. Also noted that Steve Lattimore actually dropped 4 seconds off that last lap time. He actually did a 1:30. So there's a couple of positions between them. I don't think that was it was both of them there, but Bruce Smith dropped down to a 1:56 that lap as well. So yeah, we don't know what happened there. There must be a little bit of a tangle up, but nothing major. And I'm also surprised to say that we've got a few people that have already taken the pit stop. So we'll probably see Michael Spithill down in P22. He's already taken his pit stop, but he's doing 1:23s. So hopefully he'll chew back up that field as well. So I'll keep an eye on that and see where we all end up after all the pit stops. Well, even Chad Hearn, he got caught up in that little bit of a drama. That was the first lap drama there. He had his pit stop, but he's killing it in times, man. His best is a 1:23, basically flat, really. And his last lap was a 1:23.5, so he's killing it in lap times. So that's good to see, and only the top 4 people. So yeah, Andrew Welter, Matt Morris, Sean Thompson, and David Miller are the only ones that are in 22s. Yeah, as you were actually saying that, I jumped onto the chase view of the AMG coming through there. I was Aaron Imber's car, and I was watching it. I just thought I'd watch it for a sec, and yeah, as you said, it's going blue wide there. Not only that, turn 3 as well. They're going a little bit wider than Chris Whittaker and the Beamer. You know, that corner, like turn 3, you can take that a little bit wider. You've got that, you know, nice little green grass kind of grippy stuff. I don't know what it's called. Someone will correct me later. But yeah, same as turn 6, I think it is. You can run it a little bit wide, so they are going a little bit wider than the Beamer. So no, it's interesting to see. Okay, let's run through the gaps here. So we've got Andrew Welter up first. We've got Matt Morris in second. He's only, what, 1 second behind, 1.1. You know, we've got Sean Thompson in third, David Miller, David Clements, Rowan Keenans, Aaron Invers, Liam Eagle in 8th, Chris Whittaker in 9th, Aaron Hindle in 10th, and Steve Lattimore in 11th. So as I said, you know, come on, he'll get to that 6 or 7 spot, I reckon. But yeah, we'll definitely see. And yeah, these boys are doing good. And as we said at the start of the race, I think Race Control came out with the gloves on and warned everyone after last week's. Oh, Matt Morris just getting a bit ugly there too. You know, after last week's episode at, you know, Bella Isle. But I think these boys are going for lap times and consistency tonight, and that's great to see. Yeah, it is. It looks like that's where all the action is. Not only that we've got a 1.53 second gap between first and second, and Andrew Welter, that's in the lead, is just catching up with Scott Clark, that we're going to start getting these back markers. So we'll see what happens with pit stops and stuff like that, and see how that's going to slow them down. But within a 1.5 second gap, it's not much there in it to fight for the lead. Yeah, well, that's it. If you do look at Dean Ross's position, he has 5.8 seconds to the person in front of him. So he's going to have that clear air. So, you know, it might be a strategy pull. We won't know. We're guessing here. But, you know, if he does get on there, we'll see his lap times. We'll watch what his lap times are. But he does have clean air. He doesn't have that hold up, and he's not catching up with back markers. So, yeah, it's definitely something to watch. Yeah, just watching that then, Dave Clements, was it? They just jumped in the pits there, and he was from P4. But that was, he had very similar times to Dean Ross. Lane time was 29.7 to Dean's 29.8. And then the stop was a 14.7 compared to Dean's 14.3. So obviously that's the benchmark to it. And then as Matt Morris just pulled into the lane as well, as I'm seeing on the timing sheets. Oh, and Sean Thompson at a third. Yeah, well, that's it. It's only for fuel. It's not for tyres. Definitely not at them times, and definitely not in a 45-minute race either, because these GT3s, 45 minutes is only half life of the tyres. But these guys are doing pretty much similar, like spot on. Matt Morris did a you know, 0.05 of a second, you know, half a second longer time, but they're all doing spot on times for their pit stops. So we'll see what happens. It's all about clean air and your lap times after your pit stop. Yeah, they've definitely. I think that they're a little bit scared of Ryan in race control tonight, and everyone's taking it a little bit easy and watching their rearview mirrors. And not only that, they're watching their relative. You know, Andrew Welter's been up there, and I saw a few moves that people are just, you know, continuing on their line, but giving him enough gap that he can fit up the inside there. And just touching base again. Last lap for Steve Lattimore was a 122.2. That puts him in P7 as of now. Maybe we should start betting on this stuff, Bruce. Yeah, we got some little Twitch bet apps we can put up there and start betting up there. I don't think we'd be allowed to, though. I think we'd have the inside knowledge. Yeah, that's it. Well, look, anyone that's in the server can have the same timing screens as us, so, you know, you got to bet before the race. But yeah, definitely after two major incidents, not focusing just on Steve Lattimore, there's a few other ones like You know, Rob J. Harris is still in 17th. I'm surprised at that. I thought he would have pushed a little bit forward and had that little bit more of a drive. Watching the lap times as well, especially with people in front of him in his lap times, but not focusing on Steve Lattimore. But that's the most incidents or errors in a race that he could have. He's had 2, and he's still fighting back. As you said, he just goes head down, ass up, and drives corner, apex, exit, lap after lap. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing with these 3, right? Whoever's going to give up first and pull into the pits. Now, the thing is, are you going to do that next lap? Being, you know, Liam Eagle or Chris Whittaker, are you going to pull in at the same time and do the last minute kind of dive? Is he going to fake it like Aaron Invers? Is he going to fake it like we saw a couple of blokes last week trying to do that? You know, this is the point. You can't do it on fuel savings. Oh, look at that. Aaron Invers, Chris Whittaker, straight in there. Liam Eagle, that would have been a hardest decision. He'd be thinking, oh shit, I have to pit like next lap and go for the and try and push this lap really hard. Try and get a couple of milliseconds or whatever he can get. Yeah, that's it. So this is going to be interesting coming around and seeing what happens and where Liam Eagle, when he jumps in the pits, where is he going to come out? So we knew how close it was. Yeah, well, not only that, we've actually missed that Andrew Walters pitted. Matt Morris went straight in after him. So we've got pretty much, they were spot on, but the stop for Matt Morris was a little bit more, and unlucky for him, that would have actually put him in first position.
This battle's starting to heat up a little bit too with Matt Morris coming back up onto the back of Andrew Welter now, so it's within 0.7 of a second, so he's certainly made grounds on him. Had a change for the lead there as well, so now we've got Matt Morris sitting in first position, Andrew Welter in second, so not sure if Andrew had a bit of an off or...
Just hearing that there's an incident between 907 and 917. So that was Steve Lattimore and Dean Ross. That'll be a post-race look at that one from race control.
Just looking through the chat there, Stephen. I see you had to make your own quick pit stop as well. While you're away, we had actually a change of the lead. Matt Morris took over from Andrew Welter as well, so...
Yeah, that's it. I was just seeing that myself there. You know, as I was just commenting on Matt Morris, giving it everything, and he was, you know, seeing the race lines compared to, you know, Andrew Welter, and just saying on the incident points itself, you know, everyone saw so much comments and stuff like that from obviously Spa 24-hour, people abusing the sidetracks and stuff like that, trying to get the incident points to give that kind of seconds. Let's put it into perspective here. Andrew Welter has 0 incident points. Matt Morris is up front on 10 incident points. So I'm not saying it's anything about the, you know, it's not how bad you make an incident or anything like that. It's, you know, a little bit too wide on a corner or anything like that, trying to get that speed. Now, Matt Morris was in second position. He was trying to get that position, you know, that first position. So he was pushing a little bit harder. And I was watching the car. He was going a little bit wider in a few corners and stuff like that. But this is going to be interesting to see in the last, you know, 8 minutes of this race. Is Andrew going to do the same? Is he going to push that AMG, as we've talked about all race? Is he going to pull it or push it right to the limits? Forget the incident points. Let's go for absolute time. Let's get up the back of Matt Morris. Let's put that pressure on and wait for that mistake.
Both these guys are very, very hard races. They're not going to to lay down and quit very easily. So I'm sure you're going to see some good racing in the last 7.5 minutes of it. It's all about setting it up and planning your move and where it's going to stick, that you can break it as deep as possible and not cause any issues, and to make the pass. So Andrew's a smart racer, and Matt's a smart racer too. So Matt's going to know exactly where Andrew's going to be strong, and Andrew's going to know where Matt's strong. So it all comes down to the driver and what they're willing to make the car do for them.
I think these boys have been really on point tonight. I think race control has really scared these guys.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. There's been some good racing and a couple of little instances here and there, but nothing like we saw last week. No repeat of that, so which is really good. Just looking at Steve Lattimore's car, and it looks like it's absolutely been through the walls. So I'm surprised he's still holding it on track so well with the rear wing like that.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that just before you said it. You know, it looks a little bit out of shape. It looks like it's had a hard night last night. But yeah, look, as you described before, you know, he hangs in there. He doesn't give up. You know, he gets in there and still punches along, and you know, that's what happens in racing. Sometimes it doesn't fall your way. You know, you're not holding the right cards, but you keep pushing on, and a little bit of perseverance and persistence, and you get there. You get used to your car, and that's what he's doing. So you got to give him props for that. Yeah, he's still there, and he's as he makes a move around a back marker there. But it wasn't actually, was it? That was for position.
Yeah, it was for position, that one. So we've got Dean Ross coming up behind both of these as well. But you know yourself, driving these cars, a little bit of aero damage on the rear end, especially on the Audi, because the Audi's loose in the rear end as it is. So he's certainly keep his wits about him.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, for anyone that's watching the broadcast or anyone that drives these cars religiously, especially in GT3 series, the Audi is that exactly what you said. A little bit of aero damage in the back. As soon as that car slides, it's a, you know, I won't say it on, it's an oh sugar moment, and you're hoping for the best. He's definitely handling it well, though. Watching him go through a few of these corners, you know, obviously in broadcast you've got TV, the TV cameras, but you know, we're watching it in chase view, and he's still taking these corners, you know, perfectly, hitting the apexes, the, you know, the exit points, and he's doing well. So, you know, he knows exactly the capability of what the car can do.
So let's put you on the spot here, Steve. So let's say we've got just over 3.5 minutes remaining. You're a betting man. Who do you put your money on? Do you put it on Andrew Welter making the pass on Matt Morris, or do you make say Matt Morris will do enough to get it home? So what do you reckon?
All right, I'm not picking favourites. I am going to go with Andrew here. Okay. The last lap time you can bet me on this. As I said, Andrew Welter had 0 incident points. Now he has 1. Okay, on the last 2 laps. Not only that, he is 0.3 quicker on the last lap. Matt Morris is really good at holding and making that car as wide as he possibly can. But I think it's going to come down to pretty much the last lap, last couple of corners.
It's going to be a tough one to call, that's for sure, because both these drivers, we know what they're capable of doing, and we know Matt will want to get the win, but Andrew will also want to get the win, so it's going to be a close one right to the end. Andrew just runs a little bit wide, exiting that corner, which just cost him 1 to 2 tenths there.
Yeah, but not only that, but if you look at the attitude of Matt Morris's car, them rear tyres are not that happy, eh? Coming out of the exit corner, he's, you know, Andrew is running it wide and trying to keep the pressure on. But Matt's car doesn't look a little bit unhappy on the exit. You know, as I said before, you're watching TV view on the broadcast, but we're watching chase view, and we can see how the cars are reacting and stuff. I don't know. Is Andrew going to push it? I think he's too much of a sensible, calculated driver to throw it deep. And maybe I'll take it back and say Matt's got it in the bag. But for the lap times, and now he's on 3 incidents in 1 lap, I don't know. He wants it. He's got the fight for it, and he's got the first for it.
They're also coming back up onto a lap car as well in Scott Chambers, so hopefully there's no repercussions of that, and these boys can just race to the end. Minute and 30 left, so there's only probably this lap and probably another lap and a half to go or so, and we'll be checking flags, so it's going to be a close battle.
Oh, mate. One of the worst corners that Andrew Chambers, come on. Andrew Welter could have run a little bit deep on, was that one, just to get that run off that back straight and try and get that speed. Matt Morris has just gained from that one there, so I don't know, he really needs to pull it together and focus. I think he's pushing a little bit too hard at the moment, Andrew, but we'll definitely see. The car spins in front of him.
Good driving.
Oh, nice work.
Nothing worse than being in first position and having a car turn in front of you and just not knowing which way they're going to go.
Yeah, mate, you know what that reminds me of straight away? Not taking the race away from this, Dane Warren's last two races in the AOSC. Unlucky. But yeah, let's get back to this race. You know, Scott Chambers, he knows what to do. He'll get out of the way, but yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I don't think Andrew's going to push it too hard, but I think Matt Morris has got it in the bag.
Yeah, I think that little mistake that Andrew done cost him about half a second. I think that's enough to secure the win for Matt Morris.
Yeah, definitely. He's dropped that right tyre in the grass a couple of times, and as we see, Scott Chambers, as I said, you know, we know how pretty much all these boys drive, and he wouldn't have wanted to even have a bar of it, so he would have pulled over. He would have watched his relative and just got out the way. Good on him for that. But yeah, as you said, dropping that wheel a couple of times, as he just does now, unfortunately, it's just cost him too much time, and he's not close enough to make any moves.
They're coming up to the checkered flag this time, so Matt Morris is going to take this win, I think. So as long as he doesn't make any errors between now and the checkered flag, but I don't think he will. We're coming into the last corner throughout the last section, so I think he's got this one.
Definitely, that's good with velocity as well. You know, there's a couple of velocity boys that run in this series, and Matt Morris deserves that one. He did really well.
He has done really well in that race. He's kept the car clean. There's like, I can't see a mark on it, so he's done exceptionally well.
Well, it's got to be a good thing for him to say that from the moment he got in front. So he's been in front 3 or 4 laps. I'd say 4 or 5. Let's say 5 for the max. I don't know the numbers yet. I will look. He's pushed Andrew Welter to go and take 5 laps, 5 incidents, when he had 31 laps of no incidents. So he's from him taking that position from Andrew Welter, he's forced another driver to push as hard as he possibly can, and that's the best little pat on the back for him, I reckon. If that was me driving, that made someone that was cleanly driving for 30 laps to make 5 incidents, so one incident per lap for the rest of the race, I think that's a really good pat in the back.
Yeah, and that's what pressure does to you. And I mean, that's ultimately, at the end of the day, that's how you get positions, is by keeping the pressure on, letting the person know that you're right in their mirrors, keep that pressure, make them into it, force them into that little bit of an area, or make them just run that little bit wide where you can just get the nose up, get the apex of the corner and drive away. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's awesome work for these guys tonight. You know, let's have a flick through. Steve Lattimore, he was in 12th. Oh, sorry, I would have lost that bet. I was hoping around 7th. You know, Rob J. Harris up 2 positions. Matt Kidd up 8. He's in 17th. In the top 5, Chris Whittaker, he was up 5 positions, ended up 5th. Yeah, no, a few of these boys jumped a lot of positions. Matt Kidd was 8th, and he takes it out for the overall. But Matt Morris started in 3rd and finished in 1st position there. So, no, it was a good drive for all the boys tonight. As we said multiple times tonight, you know, race control was on these boys, especially from the last week. It was a really hard race. 60 cars, Bella Isle, small track, and not only that, it was a concrete playground. Absolutely dismal, but no, the guys have came out tonight and performed awesomely and drove it and made it again once for us. Bruce, we had to find things to have a chat about.
Yeah, in some ways, as opposed to last week, it's probably a good way that it's actually happened. So yeah, look, once again, last week we shall write that one off. We shall forget that race, and if we could just continue on with races like this throughout the season, where we do have them mid-pack battles, we do have them battles up the front, and people have got to put together good sectors, good lap times, and to get positions, and that's what we want out of the series.
Yeah, well, that's it. Look, we've done an endurance, also the second endurance for the season. Next week we're at Suzuka Grand Prix course. That's a really good track, really fast. That's going to be a decent race. I'm looking forward to seeing that one as my phone goes off its head. So that's going to be an awesome race, especially with these guys, especially with these drivers. Suzuka is known for a GT3 track.
Yeah, Suzuka actually always brings out good racing. I actually like Suzuka. I know there's a lot of guys out there that don't like Suzuka, but I actually like it. There is quite a bit of a run that can cause a bit of issues with tyre wear, especially in the Merc. I think the Merc's probably the worst for it. But yeah, it's one of those tracks where you got to learn to drive, especially through the S section and stuff like that. Just nice and cautiously, don't overcook the tyres, and make the tyres last throughout the race.
Yeah, well, that's it. All right, so we got Suzuka, we got Indianapolis, Watkins Glen. No, everyone knows Watkins Glen. And the next one after that was week 11, Circuit Zolder, and that is going to be the next or last endurance race for this Dev series. So that one's going to be an interesting one. I think they've got a cruisy well-known few tracks from now on. You know, Indianapolis might give a few people that are not well known in the GT3s there, but Suzuka, Watkins, Zolder, and the last race, week 12, Silverstone, GT3s run around there all the time. So I think it's going to be clean racing from now on. Well, I'm hoping that it's going to be clean racing from now on, and I hope that endurance at Circuit Zolder is going to be entertaining and really get down to these strategies, especially like this race. You see this one, and then even a couple of weeks ago, what we said, it was a single file race from start to finish. There wasn't any major dramas at all. These boys were just driving lap after lap and being consistent, and I think this is where it's going to go. And hopefully Zolder with endurance, it's going to show pit strategies and fuel strategies and tyre strategies. I think that's where it's going to win or lose.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct there, Steve. So we'll see how the rest of the season pans out and goes for everyone. So anyway, I'd like to say good night to everyone and thank you for tuning in. I would like to apologise because I have to go back and check the replay, but I believe my microphone might not have been working for quite some section of this, so I do apologise, and I'll make sure we have no technical issues next week.
Alright, well guys, this is Steve, and I'm signing off for the night, and thanks for tuning into the broadcast. Always welcome every Sunday night. Watch the races, join the series. If you have iRacing, get on track with these guys, join the league, and learn and have fun. Other than that, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Steve. Good night.